Okay, so I think we are live now.
Nice.
Just give us a few seconds. We just see if people are joining and what's happening. Let's just give them a minute. Hi, Karthik. No sleep when this is important, man. Hi, Sahil. It was just click.
Hey Sahil, hey Karthik. Just click says hi. 15 people are there. So guys, you can start posting your doubts on the chat.
So we have
Hi,
three of us
Pradima.
today. So just to introduce ourselves, Ankit Thakker, rank 2. I'm rank 9 and Shreekanth rank 40. So this is what we got in CET 2020. And we're all studying at JPMS currently. Just throw whatever questions you have. We'll answer them to the best that we can. Please like the video so that we also know that you're enjoying the content. So just let us know whatever's going on. And just ask whatever you have on your mind. This is a session for you, and that's all there is. Like, we have no other intention here. So just tell us whatever you have on your mind. We'll answer your questions.
You also ask your friends to join, even if they have any doubts, we'll try to clear them.
It's a very tricky situation. Just to mention that in the start, I think, and it's really important to have friends. Like, I think Shreekanth and Ankit used to have this group where they used to talk about everything that was going on. Shreekanth and I used to be friends as well. We used to discuss a little bit compared to what they used to. But having friends through this period of time, especially when there's so much uncertainty, I think it's a big difference. It makes a big difference to the prep. In fact, we were in an uncertain situation when our results came out, but JP wasn't starting, and that's when TTV was born. So you never know what happens in these uncertain situations. Just keep the friends, keep them close, and just keep doing what you're doing. I think everyone's prepared quite well. We had asked for a poll as well recently. So I think the responses are quite well. I think Ankit has also asked a poll. We'll be making a video on all of that, on the analysis of all of that soon. But the idea is just that the prep is going better than what it was last April, March.
Yeah.
But I do understand that it's pretty demotivating how things are going. So we're here to help you out in that, in whatever way we can. We don't have any predictions, so don't ask us that. We don't have any predictions on when the date will be, what is going on. We also don't know. Shreekanth has a very cool guitar. I myself didn't know he had a guitar. So, this is our level of knowledge. But, yeah, we'll start taking questions.
Online MBA does have the cons. Yeah, so we have quite a few questions already.
Yeah. Anay is the Hulk. Any questions?
So the first question is, any idea when would the exam would be? So obviously no idea. DT knows. Maybe mostly in the month of September, I'm expecting, but not sure. Cannot say anything. But we can just be prepared from our sides as well. Or we can give our mocks, consistently prepare ourselves, and be at our top level game. Maybe it can happen like what happened with the CMAT exam, right? So the admit card was out, and within a week itself, the exam dates were released. So those who were prepared well while the admit card was out, they were good, they were confident. But those who weren't expecting the dates to be so short were a bit demotivated by the scores and etc. So the best thing is, do not speculate. Just try to push your score as much as you can, give as many mocks as you can, and just improve your score right now.
Yeah, while I do hope that the CMAT situation doesn't repeat itself, I do believe there are chances, and you should be prepared, especially when it has happened already. Be prepared for it. At least it's something that's in your head. Had it been a one-off situation, it would be very different. But because it has happened recently, and since everything is uncertain, I think it's best to keep in mind that something like that is possible. So from now, you need to keep preparing, be at your best. It is a very difficult thing to be. It's a very difficult place to be, but you just keep taking mocks. More importantly, mock, analyze, mock, analyze, mock, analyze. You have to keep doing that. Improvement is what is key. Everyone who's asking about stagnant scores, not even seen the chat, but I'm sure there are a couple of questions about stagnant scores because that is one thing that is always asked. Everyone who's asking about that, analysis is the important part. Mock analysis, mock analysis. Just keep that cycle going on and on. Find out where you can improve. Ankit?
Right. So one more thing that I want to add is that after you do your mock analysis, you will figure out some areas which are weak or some part of a particular section that is weak. So you have to work on that part, like just doing the analysis and then moving on to the next part or moving on to the next mock is not going to help you. So if you figure out, say, you're taking too much time in input output compared to average students, or suppose you're making some constant mistakes in data interpretation or some other topic. So work on that. Now you have time, so sit and do 30 questions of data interpretation every day, or sit and solve 5 sets of input output every day. So if you figure out something that is going wrong for you with your mock analysis, work on that weakness instead of just going from one mock to the next to the other one.
Right. Usman has asked, yeah, sorry. Go for it.
Yeah, Meenal said has asked what is a safe score in test and a mock. So I've been getting a lot of questions that which mocks are good, what score is good. So I only give a simple answer to this is that you don't have to focus on the score in that particular mock. You just have to focus on the ranks and the percentile. So some mocks can be difficult, some mocks can be easy. You can't say, because what happens is basically these mock providers, what they do, they want to try each and every different patterns in each of their mocks. So they have 20 mocks, let's say. So few will be very hard, few will be easy, few will be very difficult. And no one can predict the CET level. So I've got a lot of questions like which mock provider is the best or is exactly as similar as the level of actual CET. So my answer to that is no one can predict the actual CET level. Sometimes it is easy, sometimes the cutoffs also varied in the last few years. Sometimes it was 125, one time it was 160, last year it was 140, I guess, last year. So you just have to focus on scores. If it is an easy mock, if your peers, if your friends are scoring more, then your aim should be to score more. If it is a difficult one, you can't say that all of the IMS mocks are difficult or all of the test and the mocks are difficult and some XYZ mock providers mocks is easy. They have different mocks in each and every of them. So any of the good mock provider, you can go with it. You don't have to stick to the कि हाँ मैंने टेस्ट फंड डाल लिया तो ही मेरा अच्छा होगा, मैंने टाइम नहीं लिया तो मेरा अच्छा नहीं होगा. You don't have to think about it. Right now what you should think about is giving as many mocks as possible. Even if it is a difficult mock, take it as a challenge. Who knows, exam mein if a difficult section pops up and the difficult mock wala section was compared to what it came in the exam. So you can while analyzing you'll think ki haan main ye difficult aaya tha, so I can get at least 30 marks or 25 marks out of it. So how do you analyze for that? Matlab kitna marks la sakte hai, even if it is a difficult mock. If you're normally scoring 35 ke range mein and in that mock you scored only 25, so you understand that this is a difficult mock. अब इस मॉक में अगर यही सेम डिफिकल्ट सेक्शन एग्जाम में आया तो हाउ टू डील विद दैट? यू कांट think of a plan during the exam. You have to think of it before that. So don't be afraid of difficult mock and don't term the mocks as difficult, easy or medium. Just go with the flow. Each and every mock is different. It's of its own. It challenges you for different questions. It challenges you for different types of sets. Just go with the flow and just try to learn the most out of it. Another important thing is analysis part. So I've seen a lot of people, you'll only analyze for around half an hour or maybe 15 minutes or 1 hour. But whenever you give a mock, I think you should try to analyze for at least 2.5 hours. As Ankit mentioned, he used to analyze for more than 3 to 4 hours. So the maximum amount of learning which you can get out of a mock is by mock analysis. You have given the mock, you have scored what you scored, some concepts, you applied it, you got the marks. But uske aage kya? You have to do the mock analysis properly and then you'll realize ki haan, these are the questions which I can improve on. These are the concepts which I can improve on. These are the concepts which I don't know, but I can work on it and improve on that. So you have to focus on the analysis part more. I know it is very irritating. Even for me, I hadn't done a lot of before this in my preparation also at the first year, I did not used to do a lot of mock analysis. It is easier to say to do mock analysis than to do, and because of some peers like Ankit, I got to know how to analyze mock properly. In the first attempt, I myself used to analyze mocks for like half an hour, and that is the reason I was able to give 2 mocks every day for 30 days, right? So if I would have analyzed the mocks, then I would have maybe given a mock per day or 1 mock for 2 days. So I was not getting maximum learnings out of it. But then I realized that mock analysis takes a lot of patience, perseverance, and consistency. And then you learn the maximum out of it. And then you realize that this is something that I don't know. If you keep on giving mocks and mocks, you'll just repeat the same mistakes again and again. It is quite difficult, I know. But if you work hard, you can definitely achieve that. And I guess we have sufficient time right now to do that. I don't think it is too late right now also. Yeah, Ankit, I want to add something.
I think you added everything that is there. I don't think there's anything left that we can add. It's a full complete answer. So just listen to this part again and again if you ever have any doubts about how to go about it. I think this was a very good answer. Thank you, Shreekanth.
It's a monologue.
Yeah, this is the golden thing, you know. But it's also because we've been asked this question a lot, so we know that this is on your mind. Plus, Shreekanth has had this experience, which he's talking about. And again, coming back to the friends thing that is there, that group helped them a lot. That group that they had, that helped them a lot, and they have always said this each and every meeting, every time they mentioned how helpful that group was. I think there were 4 people who made it to JB in this year. There were 4 out of those that are in JB, right? 4 or 5?
5.
7.
There were 5.
7, I guess. No, 5. 5 out of 8 or 7 people.
5 out of 8. See, so that's what it's like. The cohort that you have makes a big difference because your mentality becomes like that. If you're always sitting with people who are comparing the easy mocks, hard mocks, and doing all of that, or in a group with 5,000, 6,000 people, just putting your score out there, it doesn't lead to any quality output. But when I was talking to Shreekanth, when Shreekanth was talking to Ankit, or everything that was going on, we knew that we had some standing, that we knew that, you know, if we had this discussion, it's going to be quality that we will get out of that. So coming back to that point, but I think that's really one thing that is important. All the TTP students that are there, I think you've been using the WhatsApp group really nicely. I do think there are lots of students who aren't. So if you're one of the people who aren't and watching this right now, please use it. We read those messages as well, and we are keeping a track of things that are happening. So please put things over there if ever something is there. Usman has asked, should you take easier mocks? I think Shreekanth has kind of answered this, but I don't think you should be doing that. One thing that I just want to add over here is the concept of a can-be score. Can-be score is what your score can be in that mock totally. If you've got 120 but it can be 160, you've done really bad. But if you've got 120 and your can-be score is 130, you've done pretty well. It's that delta that is left. So just focus on that. Don't go by easy question. Sajja has sent a message. Turn on your super chat, please. Just want to address this because we have a couple of things on this, but YouTube has never been our revenue source. That's why we've never kept ads on YouTube as well. It's always been something that we just want to put out there for knowledge spreading. So YouTube has never been a source of revenue for us. So we won't be keeping the super chat on, which I do think is what you're referring to. Stuck at 120, I think Shreekanth has already answered that. I think all these mock questions we can probably skip all of this that is there. Shivangi has asked, Anay, why don't you accept request on LinkedIn? I'm really sorry. I think I've just missed out on it. I'll go through it again. I just don't use LinkedIn that much, honestly, but I'll go through it. Kunal has asked a question on strategy that is there. Should we go for a strong topic or say easy topics in CET mocks or tough topics? So what we'll do over here is I'll answer this first. Then Shreekanth, you can go for it because I know you have a different strategy here. Ankit, you can go after that. I think you have my strategy. You were also taking the easy ones first. So in fact, Ankit, you go for it. Ankit and Shreekanth, both of you answer this.
No, you take it. I think you will give a better answer.
Okay. So for me, it was always easy questions first. It didn't matter what it was. I feel like the motivation that it gives you solving 100 questions in the first 60, 70 minutes, if you're able to do that, you have the entire paper set. The next 100 questions become a breeze. That mentality that develops once you've solved even 50 questions in 30 minutes, that goes on for a longer period. See, this was my mentality. And Shreekanth, you want to contrast this exact same thing that was there for you?
Yeah, so basically I used to go with puzzles first, but because it was a hard section, it was a make or break section. So there is a contrast, but there is a reasoning behind it. Since I had given lots and lots of mocks and I practiced a lot, and that was the reason because of which I started with a difficult section first. You know, people can stuck in a puzzle and then they'll go, "Nahi, I'll try to do it." It comes in their ego. But since my mind was fresh at the first 15 minutes, or let's say the first 1 hour of the paper, so I used to give it to the difficult section and then keep the easiest part at the last. So yeah, you can continue and then I'll continue with my answer.
So it's the mentality that mattered. Even if the tough puzzles came, Shreekanth was ready to leave that and go ahead. He didn't take it on his ego. Same with me. If I solved only 40 questions in, let's say, 40 minutes in the start, I knew that there is a lot more to go ahead. It's about that mentality that is there. You know, even if your strategy does not work out, you need to be safe overall. So for me, it was easy questions first. For me, it was visual, then verbal. All 75 questions in around 50 minutes. Around 40 to 50 minutes was what my aim was. 40 minutes. Then next would be the easy logical, then easy quant. So it was all easy, or things that you could not guess, or things that even if you spend half an hour on, you would not change your answer. You know, you could not do anything different. That's what I would attempt. Then I would go for the tougher questions because I know that I've got the momentum. I've got the momentum going, and I know that I'm in the flow of solving things fast. Then I would solve the entire paper. So it's a personal choice. As
one more thing.
As to what you want.
Yeah, so Anay has answered this in a macro perspective. So I tend to go into a micro perspective in this. So as Anay mentioned that he used to tackle the easiest questions first. So easiest section first. So there are only 4 sections and you can tackle the easiest section first or you can tackle the hard section first. But what I used to do is taking even the harder section. For let's say the LR is considered as a difficult section. So even if I take LR as a difficult section at my first go, I won't start with puzzles directly or the difficult puzzles. I will start with the easiest questions in that particular puzzle. So you have to go deeper and deeper and then realize ki, yeah, even if it is a tougher section, I will only do the easiest questions first and then I'll continue to the difficult question. It has a psychological impact as well. If you do if you, let's say, in the first 10 or 15 minutes in the LR section, if you score, let's say 10 to 15 questions correct, the easiest ones, then that definitely helps. And after that, if you go on doing the medium level and harder questions, and you can then see if you have enough sufficient time, and then you can, if you want to attempt, then you can attempt. So what used to happen basically was, let's say, for example, you're in the quant section. I'll try to just give you an idea to check yourselves what can go wrong in a quant section. Let's say if you're solving a quant section, so there are 50 questions. I have realized myself after giving 10 or 15 mocks that the first 10 minutes, the initial 10 minutes in the quant section, I used to start with the first question itself. First question, second question, third question, fourth, fifth. Pehle 10 minutes, I used to solve only 3 or 4 quant singlet questions. And I used to get 1 or 2 questions wrong in that. So 10 minutes I was getting only 2 marks. Then I realized ki, yeah, even if quant is my forte, is my strong section, I am getting the least marks in the first 10 minutes. And the overall time which I was giving for quants was 30 minutes. So in the 30 minutes, in the first 10 minutes, I'm only scoring 2, and remaining 20 minutes, I'm scoring the XYZ amount of marks. So my idea was to switch and focus on scoring the maximum marks in the first 10 minutes. So I used to see which are the questions which I'm easily being able to score in the quant section. So I realized ki quadratic inequalities is one such section, and then a number series and approximations are the few sets of questions which I can solve very easily. So I have to attempt those first. So rather than thinking of it कि 4 section में सबसे पहले hard section उठाओ या easy section उठाओ, whichever section you choose, उसमें तुम easiest section पहले उठाओ, right? And apart from that, why I was choosing LR first was main reason was the mind fresh रहता है, and LR में the puzzles you have to keep a lot of data in your mind. So it helps if you start with the LR section, but that depends. If you have practiced for, let's say, solving puzzles in the last half an hour or last 40 minutes, then that also helps. It's all depending upon your practice, but the focus should be to solve the easier questions first, even if you select a difficult section. So turns out eventually all our section strategies were same. We focus on solving the easiest question first, then the difficult section can be different. Yeah.
I'll just add something. So whether whatever strategy you're following, easier first or difficult first, what is important is for you to be flexible in the CET exam. That don't remain stuck up that if you're entering in with one particular strategy, it may happen that say LR is your strongest section, you want to go in with LR first. But it may turn out that all 7 or 8 puzzles that come in LR are on the lengthier side. And contrastingly, you may have DI sets which are on the easier side, and you may have RCs which are on the easier side. So don't remain stuck up that you want to solve 5 or 6 puzzles and then move on to the next section. If you feel that in general the LR section is tough or in general puzzles are lengthy, just solve a couple of puzzles and then you can move on to the next section, to the DI section, to the quant section, to the verbal section, and you should basically move up and down between sections. So make sure that you can be flexible, because in CET it's a matter of seconds, like few seconds here and there can determine whether you get 2 or 4 or 5 marks up and down. So make sure that you're flexible between question types and between sections also.
Yeah, Anay, you can add your 10 minutes wala strategy if you want. That helps you being flexible in the questions, right?
Right. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. In the last 10 minutes.
Yeah. So Shreekanth had kind of touched on this in the start when he was answering the mock question. But basically the idea is that you want to keep a buffer. You want to keep a small buffer of time. It was 30 minutes for me, in fact. It was around, so the last 30 minutes which was reserved for puzzles and tough quant, that was basically a 30 minutes where I could solve whatever I want. If I thought that the verbal section was extremely easy that day, or the quant section was very easy, and I needed extra time for that, I would go to it and resolve it, or go through it and try to get better marks in the same question that I have. What happens with the fixed strategy is that when you have fixed time, many times you don't get that extra time to solve the question that you've left. You might think your quant is weak, so leave all the questions in quant, but the quant paper and the quant difficulty in the exam is very easy. So then what happens on that day? All your peers are getting the marks. All the peers who are attempting quants are getting the marks. But you, who has purposely left quant, is now not getting the marks because you yourself made that decision to keep that in the end and didn't give yourself time for it. So the idea is that you want to kind of keep that option open in the end, that you have 10 minutes extra, let's do something else. It's not fixed. Last 10 minutes or last 20 minutes that are there, keep that open for something else. क्या GA नहीं हो रहे तो वो कर लेते, कुछ और कर लेते, कहाँ से marks ला सकते, doesn't matter कहाँ से marks लाओ, CET में section तो होता नहीं है, जहाँ से you want, you have to get it from there. Like, just get the marks in the end, you'll get a seat. That's all that is there in CET. There is no interview, there is nothing that is there, at least as of now, but I doubt that is going to change. But you just need the marks and you're through. Just remember that one thing, in CAT you still need sectional test, you need so many different things that are there. In CET you do not. So just keep that one thing in mind. One question from Payal over here. Can you please share the link of your program and also the Telegram group? So I think we'll put that in the description box that is there. Just give us 5-10 minutes. We'll add our links to the description.
Yeah.
Our course, there was another question on the course, whether we did shortcuts or what we did in the end to increase our marks. That is exactly what we've added in our course. In fact, when we made this course, it was supposed to be for the last few months. Now the last few months kept getting extended, and that's why it's become more like a year-long course. We started off in around, I think, November, December time. And now we are in September, and it's the same course that is going on. But when we created this course, it was supposed to be not a last minute, but more like a last. See, it's something you can finish in 2 weeks. Whenever you want to assume those 2 weeks are going to be very helpful. It's just something you can finish in 2 weeks, and if you practice it well, it's going to be great. Like, we've had stories. I think Priyanka Patil is also over here. Hi Priyanka, you sent a nice message, burning the midnight. All good to see you here as well. But basically, a lot of our students have improved a lot of their scores, and it's a really nice thing that has been going on. We've been seeing the reviews as well. So it was just a 2-week long course. So if you have any questions about it, you can reach out to us on Telegram, Instagram. Our Instagram is _top_percentile. We respond quite fast over there. So please do send us messages. In the same day, you should get responses. Email it to us. We have all logged in, so you can reach out to us.
Yeah, one more small thing which I'd like to add over is, a lot of people keep asking if I'm stuck at a score of 120 and how to improve to 145. So our basic idea for launching this course was to bridge the gap during this particular. So for the people who are in this particular gaps, or even if some people who are in the hundreds and they want to reach to 120 or 140. So how to bridge the gap between this? And that is the whole reason how this course was created. And the basic idea here is to, go through each and every video and then solve a lot of questions. You can't just go through a video, let's say for an hour, and the next day you'll start scoring 130 or 135, let's say. ऐसा नहीं होगा कि if you go through our course for 1 week and then instantly next week तुम्हारा score 20 marks या 30 marks से improve होगा. That is not going to happen. For that, what you have to do is solve a lot of questions. If let's say if you're solving quants, for example, so there are 25 topics in quants. Which are the important topics? I've done a video where I've highlighted the important topics in quants. Go through each and every topic and solve at least 50 or 100 questions for that particular topic. And once you solve 50 to 100 questions, and that's when you realize that your scores have improved in that particular section. You can't just watch a video and then do nothing and then the score will improve. So if you want to utilize the course fully, go to the videos first, try the shortcuts which we have said, and then you apply it while solving the questions. So it's going to take a lot of hard work, but if you do it properly, 3 weeks, 6 weeks are maximum are sufficient to increase at least 20 to 30 marks. And also analysis plays a really important role in that. Yeah, Ankit, you want to add?
So we've added the description, we've added the Telegram group link in the description. So we keep updating all the details of our course and otherwise everything related to CET on the Telegram group. So please join that. Otherwise, our email and Instagram links are also in the description. And also, guys, please like this video. The more you like this video, the more we'll be encouraged to put out such content.
Yeah, so there are 115 people. Let's at least 50 likes, 60 likes can, motivate us. Yeah. Yeah, Ankit, you want to take a question?
So there's a question for Shreekanth. There's a question for Shreekanth. How you improved your verbal and RCI? You've mentioned it before, but I think there are new people, so if you can just speak about it again.
Yeah, sure. So let's say for verbal, what I did was give a lot of sectional tests firstly, and then answer to answer that. I've given a lot of sectional tests and then written what I've learned in the sectional test in a notes. So I've created a proper notes, and then after giving the sectional test, I created notes ki हाँ इसमें क्या सीखा मैंने, what is the learning out of this particular questions. While you solve a sectional test, you solve around 20 to 30 questions. उसमें 10 questions you at least get correct, वो तुमको पता है. The remaining part is the remaining 20 to 15 questions which you don't know, and that you have to learn out of it. So उसमें आप wrong करने के बाद में you can't see the solution and just go to the next question and बाद में देखेंगे क्या होगा. You have to keep on improving right there and then, and उसके बाद में हर एक solution को देखो and try to write an answer in your own words. Like अभी मैंने एक क्वेश्चन सॉल्व किया, उसका आंसर मुझे पता नहीं है, बट मैं सॉल्यूशन देखा एंड आई थॉट कि अच्छा ये आंसर है. बट देन यू गो टू द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन एंड सेम अगले 2 सेक्शनल टेस्ट में यू रिपीट द सेम मिस्टेक्स. दैट्स नॉट हाउ यू हैव टू डू. तुमको क्या करना है, वो जो मिस्टेक हुआ क्यों हुआ, व्हाई यू हैव डन दैट पर्टिकुलर मिस्टेक. इफ यू कांट फिगर आउट कि क्यों रॉन्ग हुआ, गो टू योर फ्रेंड. आई यूज्ड टू गो टू अंकित एंड आस्क हिम, यार ये मुझे समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, ये कैसे करना है. एंड देन ही विल टेल कि अरे ये ग्रामर का रूल होता है, इफ के पहले बट के पहले इफ आता है, तो यू हैव टू डेफिनेटली कीप दिस इन माइंड, एंड अगले बार वो आपका मिस्टेक नहीं होगा. सो दैट इज हाउ आई इंप्रूव माय वर्बल. एंड अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट I divided verbal in 3 particular sections. So one was the definitely correct wala part, and second was the inference wala part, and third was very lengthy passage type of questions which you have to invest a lot of time in. So definitely answer wala part is, let's say there are 50 questions in verbal, तो उसमें एटलीस्ट 20 क्वेश्चंस ऐसे होंगे जिसके आंसर काफी डेफिनेट है. यू डोंट हैव टू थिंक अबाउट इट एंड यू डोंट हैव टू क्रिएट द आंसर फॉर इट. लेट्स से the vocabulary based questions, if you know the vocabulary ka word meaning of the word, you know the answer. If you don't know, then you don't know. There is a grammatical error wala question, read kiya, tumko error dikha, agar dikha to dikha, nahi dikha to nahi dikha. That means you don't have to go there and create the meaning for the word or create ki ha ye mistake ho sakta hai. अगर आपको आंसर आता है, नहीं आता तो नहीं आता है. So these are the questions which you have to waste the least time in. करेक्ट आंसर है, डायरेक्टली मार्क करो, आगे बढ़ जाओ. दूसरा क्वेश्चन होते हैं इन्फरेंस बेस्ड क्वेश्चंस और assertion बेस्ड क्वेश्चंस, wherein you have to figure out कि what has the author has said, क्या हो सकता है इसका आंसर, what could be the answer. So these come in paragrams and passages, if I'm not wrong, and these are the particular questions which you have to invest a lot of time in reading. जितना ज्यादा पैसेज तुम रीड करोगे, जितना ज्यादा पैराजिम्बल सॉल्व करोगे, देन यू विल गेट एन आइडिया कि या द ऑथर इज ट्राइंग टू से समथिंग एंड आई कैन फिगर इट आउट नाउ. एक बार रीड करने से यू कांट फिगर दैट आउट. सो दीज आर द सेकंड सेट ऑफ क्वेश्चंस, एंड द थर्ड सेट ऑफ क्वेश्चंस आर वेरी लेंथी, बिग पैसेज वाला असर्शन वाला क्वेश्चंस, इन जिसको पूरा क्वेश्चन ही रीड करने के लिए अराउंड 2 मिनट्स जाता है. सो आई ट्राइड टू, या क्रिटिकल रीजनिंग क्वेश्चन लेट्स से फॉर एग्जांपल, आई ट्राइड टू अवॉइड दैट क्वेश्चंस एंटायरली. So you have to figure out कि 50 questions है, what is my target score. If your target score is 35, you have to focus on correcting the 30 questions. मतलब अगर 35 भी आप स्कोर करना चाहते हो तो आप 15 questions छोड़ सकते हो. तो you have to figure out verbal में कि questions कौन से लीव करने हैं. You don't have to figure out कि कौन से मुझे 100% करना ही है, वो तो आपको करना ही है, कौन से छोड़ने वो भी आपको सोचना पड़ेगा properly. So I used to do this and then I realized कि हाँ कुछ questions है जो मुझे नहीं करने चाहिए थे, and that's how I improved my verbal slowly. And another thing for sectional test is that I've said to a lot of aspirants that sectional test देना चाहिए, important है, but how many sectional tests are good enough? You can't keep on giving sectional tests for months and months and बहुत सारे sectional tests दिया and then say कि अरे मेरा score improve ही नहीं हुआ. No, हर sectional test में हर question से learning जब तक आप लेते नहीं हो तब तक उस sectional test का पूरा utilization हुआ नहीं है. I don't know कि आपने 100 sectional test दिए and आपका score improve हुआ ही नहीं. It could be the reason कि आपने वो sectional test का maximum utilization निकाला ही नहीं, output निकाला ही नहीं. So you have to work on each and every question and you have to be sure कि हाँ आज 30 क्वेश्चंस का सेक्शनल टेस्ट दिया, आज मुझे समझ में आया 30 के 30 क्वेश्चंस गलत, कौन से क्वेश्चंस गलत किए मैंने, कौन से करेक्ट किए, और गलत किए तो क्यों गलत किए. अगर आपको नहीं पता क्यों गलत किए और फिर भी आप दूसरे सेक्शनल टेस्ट में गए तो आप कितने भी सेक्शनल टेस्ट दो आपका मार्क्स उतना ही रहने वाला. So it will take a bit of hard work and it will take a little bit of help from your friends as well, and our course is also there to help you with that. You learn a lot out of it, and बाकी सारा तो आपको peer learning and then back to back sectional test देके ही learn करना है. Yeah.
So just one small pointer. I think Shreekanth has put it very well. But for verbal, one thing that you have to understand is that verbal and critical reasoning in general, that they are both low accuracy sections. So you have to try and understand that you don't have to waste too much time on a particular question that you are stuck on, because sometimes the options are designed to be a bit tricky or ambiguous, where either you'll not understand the question properly, or you will get confused between two or three options and you will not be sure which one to mark. And at that instant, generally what people tend to do is that after spending 40-50 seconds on that question, they want to spend an additional 40-45-50 seconds to try and figure out that ambiguity and which answer will be right. But generally, no matter if you give 1 minute extra or even 2 minutes extra, generally the ambiguity does not get resolved. So try and ensure that you're not spending too much time on these ambiguous type questions. It happens a lot in CR, and it happens in some of the verbal question types also. So if you're stuck somewhere, or if you're confused between two options or three options, just mark something at that time which you feel is right and move on. And later you can see if there is some time remaining at the end, which generally there won't be, then you can think of coming back. But tend to avoid spending 2.5 minutes per question on a CR question or a verbal question in general.
One more thing I'd like to add before before giving a mock. So a lot of people have been asking कि mock कब देना है, कैसे देना है, mock में score ये आ रहा है, वो आ रहा है, etc. etc. But important thing is to prepare even before giving the mock. So what I am trying to suggest over here is next time when you give mock, let's say मैं कल सुबह 10 AM को mock दे रहा हूँ. So what I'll do is I'll not wake up at 9 AM and then नहावा के directly start giving my mock at 10 AM. What I should do is बी प्रिपेयर्ड. 9 बजे उठ गया, 9 बजे से 10 AM के बीच में द फर्स्ट 1 hour बिफोर गिविंग अ मॉक, गो थ्रू द प्रीवियस मॉक्स के मिस्टेक्स. लाइक व्हाट आई यूज्ड टू डू इज, आज मैं मॉक दे रहा हूँ, सो द फर्स्ट थिंग व्हिच आई यूज्ड टू डू व्हेन आई यूज्ड टू वेक अप व्हाइल माय प्रिपरेशन वाज टू गिव अ मॉक. डायरेक्टली मॉक दिया, डायरेक्टली मॉक में क्वांट्स क्वेश्चन स्टार्ट किया, डायरेक्टली मॉक में वर्बल के पैसेज रीड करना स्टार्ट किया. तो इफ यू हैव डन अ बिट ऑफ प्रैक्टिस और अ वार्म अप बिफोर अ मॉक, that will help you. Basically analogy देना है तो if you want to run a 10 kilometer marathon, तो आप उस डायरेक्टली 10 किलोमीटर मैराथन भागने जाओगे तो आपके पैर बहुत दुख जाएंगे. बट आप 1 वीक पहले या 1 घंटे पहले वार्म अप एक्सरसाइज कर लोगे तो आप इजीली थोड़ा फ्लेक्सिबल हो जाओगे एंड यू विल स्टार्ट रनिंग बेटर एंड यू विल अचीव योर गोल. सेम यू हैव टू डू विद द मॉक एज वेल. 10 AM को मॉक देना है तो 9 AM को उठ के प्रीवियस मॉक्स में कौन से क्वेश्चंस आपने मिस्टेक किए थे, or you can go through 1 or 2 passage entirely, only read the passage and go through the questions and understand कि हाँ इसका आंसर क्या हो सकता है. Go through 1 or 2 quants के questions, solve 1 or 2 quants का questions, go through one of the puzzles and then give mock. Once you do this, you will realize कि हाँ मैंने already 5-10 मिनट पहले, आधे घंटे पहले थोड़ा quants का question solve किया, तो so my brain is running, my brain is charged up and now I can. This is also one more thing which I wanted to add.
Right. So maybe we can take 1 or 2 more questions.
Yeah.
So there's this question: how many genuine attempts on average did you have for a moderate test mock? So for me, again, varied based on difficulty and different mock providers. But say for in general, for a moderate level mock, it would be around 140 to 150 genuine attempts. What about you, Shreekanth?
Yeah, so I've never had this idea of a moderate on easy mock or a difficult mock. My idea was 150 questions and I have 150 minutes and 200 questions. So मेरा target was to get 150 marks पहले. Obviously 150 marks आने तो वाले हैं नहीं, but how to utilize that 150 minutes. So why I am saying कि मेरा कोई target नहीं था या idea नहीं था medium, moderate mock and easy mock is because I realized whilst after solving a mock 2.5 hours के बाद में you realize कि at least 1 hour we have spent on wrong questions. So my basic idea over here was to reduce that time. मैंने 2.5 hours का mock दिया, मुझे 120 marks आए, but वो 120 marks के लिए मुझे 2.5 hours नहीं लगे, मुझे मे बी 1.5 hour ही लगा होगा, बट 1 घंटा मैंने रिमेनिंग 40-50 क्वेश्चन जो मैंने गलत किए उसमें वेस्ट किया. सो हाउ टू रिड्यूस दैट टाइम, वो मेरा आइडिया रहता था एंड नॉट बकेटिंग इट इनटू अ मॉडरेट मॉक और इजी मॉक और अ हार्ड मॉक. apart from this, I had a strict time limit for each and every sections. उसमें जितना हो रहा है उतना solve करना है. I never kept a track कि हाँ मेरे इतने genuine attempts थे, मेरे इतने difficult ये तुक्का वाला attempts थे. I started giving tukkas from the first day itself. हर mock में मैंने तुक्का दिया. So I don't think कि I go with this particular ideology of a medium, easy or difficult mock. I just go with the flow and give as much as I can in particular mock. My target scores were this. And for example, let's say for LR section, my target score for LR section was 60 because the time I used to give for LR section was 60 minutes. So exam ke baad mein, when I used to get 45 in some mocks, and uske baad in some mocks when I used to get 55, तो obviously जिसमें मुझे 45 आया है, that was a difficult mock. But मैं उसको वैसा नहीं देखता था. मुझे 45 आए हैं तो 15 मार्क्स मेरे कहाँ गए, या 15 क्वेश्चंस कौन से हैं जो मैंने डिफिकल्ट क्वेश्चंस से, जो रॉन्ग क्वेश्चंस अटेम्प्ट करते मैं बैठा, और कहाँ वो मैंने 15 क्वेश्चंस वेस्ट किए. देन आई विल रियलाइज कि हाँ ये क्वेश्चंस में आई एम वेस्टिंग. लेट्स से एक पजल था जिसमें 7 मिनट्स वेस्ट हो गए. आफ्टर रियलाइजिंग दैट, फिर उसके बाद में नेक्स्ट मॉक में आई विल इंप्रूव, लर्न दैट एंड देन गो. बिकॉज इफ आई गो विद द माइंडसेट कि हाँ ये मॉडरेट मॉक था तो मेरे को इसमें 45 ही आने वाला है, इजी मॉक है तो मेरे को 55 ही आने वाला है. I don't go with this mindset, and you don't know कि mock easy आने वाला है या hard आने वाला है. So yeah, I think this is my strategy for this particular easy moderate thing for mocks.
Yeah, I mean, you have to realize what works for you best, whether you want to divide it into buckets or you don't want to divide it into buckets. Entirely your choice, but something that may work for you may not work for someone else. So whatever you are comfortable in, however you want to go about your preparation strategy with, just do it that way. So, okay, we'll take one last question. How to prepare for CET along with a job? So during my second attempt, I did not have a job. I was preparing full time for MBA exams. But during my first CET attempt, I did prepare along with my job. And to be very honest, you have to be very committed to your exam, and you have to remove time on a regular basis with your job. Because if you lose your flow in between, or if you get too caught up in work and if you're not able to devote time on a regular basis, you lose that entire flow and then you have to reset all over again. So what I used to do was that I was not comfortable studying for CT or any exam as such after my work was done, or after I used to come back home from my office. I would instead come back home, have my dinner and sleep off early by around 9:30. And then I would wake up around 3:30, 4 a.m. And before my job started, so I would start studying at around 4:30 a.m. and I would study till around 7:30 a.m. And then I would have my breakfast or something and then leave for job, because I just felt that your brain is much fresher when you're starting out your day. So you'd rather be fresh for your CT preparation and be tired for your job than the reverse, where you're fresh for your job and then you're tired to prepare for CT if you're coming back and studying from office in the evening. So that is one thing that I felt worked for me, that I was able to stay committed on a regular basis if I used to get up early in the morning and study for around 2.5 or 3 hours every day. Any input, Shreekanth?
So basically you have to plan out what is your outcome from that particular day's preparation. Let's say if you're working, तो कितना टाइम आप काम करोगे, एक चीज दिमाग में रखना है कि मुझे कितने क्वेश्चंस आज सॉल्व करना है. So as you mentioned, you took out time and you solved these particular questions and you solved a mock or gave some sectional test. So my strategy was the same. I used to have a particular target in my mind. I have to solve 200 questions every day. So वो 200 questions मैं कितने भी टाइम में कर सकता हूँ, जब टाइम मिले तब मैं कर लेता था. So that is the only thing which working professionals and even the freshers or the people who don't have any work experience or preparing full time can keep this in mind कि आपको target set करना है कि आज के date में while before going to sleep I should be satisfied with my hard work. आज मैंने इतना preparation किया, then only I'll sleep. अगर आपने नहीं किया है, if you have let's say solved only 10 or 15 questions, then don't go to sleep. Give lot of sectional tests, give a lot of mocks, and then उसके बाद में ये सोना. So I was not a proper planning kind of a guy. मैं late उठता था, late work भी late होता था, सब कुछ late होता था, and सोता भी late था. Yeah, so this was my idea, but the whole point I'm trying to make over here is have a target, and once you have reached the target, only then and then you have to sleep. उसके बाद में next day begins. You can't keep on slogging and कल का मैं परसों करता हूँ फिर बाद में करता हूँ. If you do that, then consistency नहीं आएगा and perseverance तो नहीं है, तो marks भी नहीं आएंगे. One question which I found over here was where did you solve quants ka question? So a lot of people asking quants ke question kahan se kiya, LR ke kahan se kiya, and etc etc. कहीं से भी कर सकते हो. There is no particular question bank from somewhere which you do. Mostly bank PO IBPS के exam के questions ही आते हैं CET में. Those are the similar levels, but you have a lot of mock providers. If you have a lot of mock providers and they're giving you a lot of questions and sectional tests, वहीं से solve करो. And coming to the quants part, if there are we have listed out the topics, important topics, medium topics, and less important topics. हर topic के at least 50 to 100 questions from anywhere, from any mock provider, from a good mock provider जिसके बहुत सारे लोग mocks दे रहे हैं. 50 to 100 questions from each topic at least. That is the answer for that. Yeah, any last question you want to take, Anay, or we can wrap up?
You tell me kuch rahega, to if there's any answer I can.
So there is one last question which we'll take is how not to get depressed after a bad mock day. How to stay motivated. Yeah.
I think the main thing over here is knowing that you are more than the mock score. You always need to remember that ek jo mock mein score aata hai, that does not decide your future. You can never get, if you get a 200 on 200, can you take it to JB and tell them, ye lo, mujhe abhi aaj ke aaj admission de do, kabhi bhi kisi ko 200 nahi aaya hai CET mein, mujhe aaya hai mock mein. Can you ever go there and say that? You can't. It's the same on the other side. You cannot, even if you got a lower score, it's not going to make a difference to you. Always think of something, just 2 sentences. You are more than the mock, and secondly, the mock score does not decide. It's just a stepping stone that is there. It does not decide your future. It's just a stepping stone for better things. And I think that's a really positive note to end this on. So I think all I have to say is just keep taking mocks, analyze, and you need to keep improving. It should not get into your head that yeah, mock score nahi aa raha, to hoga nahi. There is no correlation. There are many people who get low scores, but low scores in mocks, high scores in the exam. And same the other way. High scores in mocks, low scores in the other way, in the exam. But just yaad rakho ki mock ka kuch hota nahi hai weightage. Final exam is what matters. Use mock as a stepping stone. As Ankit and Shreekanth have already told, the can be scored, your potential that is there, how to analyze mocks, how much time you should be spending, how to manage it with work, everything that is there. Bas itna yaad rakho. I think they've done a great session so far. So just thank you guys.
Thank you
for joining, guys.
Thanks for the questions as well. I think it's been we've had a great time.
All the best.
Yeah, please do like the video.
Yes, we hope to see a lot of you in JB next year with us. We are waiting for the juniors to come. So please do join, give it your best, and hope to see you soon.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.